All right, so we've got our walk cycle set up. Now we're going to animate it with our environment. So we want to return back to our parallax example. You can see that he's kind of walking in place right now. What we're actually going to do is, instead of moving him, we're going to move our background. It's kind of like the Scooby-Doo way of doing it. If you ever watch old Scooby-Doo cartoons, they'll run in place and they'll just kind of pan the background behind them. And right now our walk is only going to last a second. And then the rest of the time he's just going to be standing still. So we're also going to use a trick to make our animation loop indefinitely for that. So first let's set up our loop then. So return back to your main composition, which should be parallax example, unless you've renamed it. And then you want to leave your cowboy layer selected, the one with the pre-composition of the whole animation. Then we want to turn on something that's called time remapping. So I'm going to go up to Layer, Time, Enable Time Remapping. And this will add in the time remap property. Right now, it's got the time remap to the exact same. So nothing's going to change quite yet. You'll have a keyframe at the beginning that says 0 here, matching your time here. So that means the time inside of your composition matches the time in this main composition. And then this other keyframe down here is actually at 5 seconds, and it matches the same time here. So what we want to do is we want to loop this 1 second part. So put your playhead at 1 second, which is the end of this animation, and then add in a keyframe at the current time. Now this next step is very important, and a lot of people miss it. To actually have this loop, we can only have these 2 keyframes, because what it's basically going to be doing is copying these 2 keyframes over and over again. So it's playing this 1 second of animation over and over and over. So to do that, we have to select this last keyframe down here and delete it. So select that keyframe and press delete to get rid of it. Now it'll only play from here to here. And you'll see that this doesn't go beyond 1 second anymore. It goes 1 second and stops. Now we need to put our loop on. So we need to enable expressions for this property. You're going to hold down the Option key, click on your stopwatch to enable expressions, and then we're going to go into the expression language menu right here, this 4th icon. You're going to go down to Property, and we'll choose Loop Out. That'll put the loop after the keyframes. Just click off to deselect, and now it should be indefinitely looping. There we go. So we have an eternal walk. So we can make our composition even longer if we wanted to have them walk even further. So one thing I forgot to do when I scaled up my background was turn on my continuous rasterization switch. So it's looking really terrible right now. So make sure you go ahead and enable that for all of your layers. You might have to unlock them if you've locked them before. And that'll start to make everything look a lot better. Much better. And now what we're going to do is we're going to animate our background repositioning as this guy kind of walks through. So I'm going to take my background controller, hit P to get my position property, enable my keyframes on position. I'll move to the end of my composition, and I'll just kind of increase my time until he walks a little bit further. So it'll take a second to render. But what we should have now is a nice walking animation where we've got our cowboy in the city. So we went over a lot of different things here that to put together this character animation. We looked at a walk cycle. We looked at how to use parenting to kind of connect your body parts together. We also looked at how to use the puppet pin tool to bend the limbs. And we looked at how to use an expression to make a looping cycle. This concludes our character animation. Go ahead and, if you don't think your character is perfectly animated, go ahead and make some small adjustments if you need to try to make it look as convincing as possible. But it looks like we got a pretty good walk out of this guy from it.